such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And it says it all, really. You know, that's the amazing thing about music. You know, the whole folk tradition, really. I know about Victor Jara, probably true as well. That, you know, in such a few words, they can encapsulate the whole reality of love and destruction and war and factories. You know, amazing, amazing. And that's, I was singing with Alejandro Reyes the other week. I was in Britain. He's in Chilean exile. Well, he lives in Britain anyway. He's 83 now. And he was a compañero of Victor Jara's, and they sang together in Victor's original group, which was called Cumcumen. And he was very emphatic about the hero, obviously, Victor Jara, the hero, singing in the stadium and singing, you know, giving his very life through the music for, and when it came down to it, you know, in his very blood, he gave his life for the cause. But he really emphasizes the poetry and how powerful that is, that, as in that song, a perfect example.
Yeah.
And I guess, going back to the question, I guess that's why it is so powerful, because it is so poignantly powerful and moves you in ways that much more top-thumping songs simply don't.
And, you know, there's almost, I suspect that Victor was not like a strictly religious person, but there seems to be a lot of, I don't know, a kind of religious imagery in some of his songs, and I guess that is part of the Catholic heritage of Latin America. Even here in Nicaragua, you know, one of the most famous revolutionary pieces of music is the Campesino Mass.
That's
Missa
right.
Campesina.
That's true.
And there's this, you know, we were talking yesterday with various religious figures here in Nicaragua about the popular church as opposed to the hierarchical church, and the part of the Christian-based communities in the revolutionary struggles here, and not all, but some of Victor's songs, I think, reflected that, I suppose, a consciousness of that sentiment in Latin American culture. And I think one of the songs I found most inspiring, if you like, was I think it was the Prayer of the Word.
Yeah,
the
Prayer to the
Labrador.
Yeah, that's supposed to be based loosely on the Our Father.
On the what?
On the Our Father.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
He was actually for 2 years in a seminary, Victor Jara. But he, kind of like many of us really, because as you say, there's this it does seem to come from that Christian in the sense of love everybody equally, you know, share everything equally, you know, belong, your neighbors as important as yourself, in love one another as I have loved you, all of that stuff, which certainly I grew up with as a cradle Catholic, and then I was myself a monk for a while and stuff like that. And then you've got the people you were talking to, Padre Uriel Molina, Joe Mulligan, and then you have the great figures like Padre Ernesto Cardinal and Fernando Cardenal, and of course, soaring above them almost is Padre Miguel de Escoto. Yeah, and they were in the original revolutionary government here in Nicaragua in 1979. I think there were 3 or 4 priests were actually in the government, you know. And it's certainly true that Christian ethic, if you want, or whatever, it's hard to find the right words because there's so much dreadful stuff that goes on at the same time, runs through much of this stuff. And I think it's right, because although Victor, and to a large extent myself, moved away completely from organized religion, the mystery of beauty and of love and of wonder, how would you say, it really comes before religion, if you like, and therefore comes before humanism, becomes before communism, and so people within any of those traditions can reflect it.
That's that's what struck me about the Plegaria, the obrero, the workers' prayer, because it is, as you said, it's in the formula of Our Father, but it is actually almost pagan. It's talking about the look at the mountain, from where there comes the sun, the wind, and the water, and the valoration of work. You who change the course of rivers. You know, it's sort of
That's true.
an echo of the religious thing, but it is very, very part of the earth and part.
Yeah, well, Victor was part Mapuche.
Yeah.
You know, the indigenous people of the south of Chile, and I guess that would be echoing there as well, wouldn't it? And that's what you're really talking to. And when we talk about paganism, it's that kind of rootedness in the earth, that, you know, Mother Earth and there's just a real spirituality, much more grounded than Christianity in so many ways. And the other thing is that actual prayer. Well, two things. He talks about cleansing like flame the barrel of his gun, so it's hardly, you know, Jesus meek and mild. But it does end off with three mighty amens.
Yeah.
That's how it ends up.
You should give us
Do you want to taste
a
that?
sound of it.
I don't have that in English to sing, at least. So.
Well, we've pretty well interpreted the...
Levántate y mira la montaña. Stand up and see the wonder of the mountain, source of the wind, the sun, the water, and the wild wind. You who can harness the rush of mighty waters, you who with the seed sow the longing of your soul. Stand up and see these hands with which you labor. Stretch out, grow tall, hands joined with these, your sisters and your brothers. Working together by deepest blood united, knowing together the future can be now. Levántate y mira la montaña. ¿De dónde viene el viento, el sol y el agua? Tú que manejas el curso del río, tú que sembraste el vuelo de tu alma. Levántate y mírate las manos para crecer, estréchala a tu hermano, junto iremos unidos en la sangre. Hoy es el tiempo que puede ser mañana. Líbranos de aquel que nos domina en la miseria. Tráenos tu reino de justicia, de igualdad. Sopla como el viento la flor de la quebrada, limpia como el fuego el cañón de mi fusil. Hágase por fin tu voluntad aquí en la tierra. Tráenos tu fuerza y tu valor al combatir. Sopla como el viento la flor de la quebrada, limpia como el fuego el cañón de mi fusil. Levántate y mírate la mano para crecer, estréchala a tu hermana, juntos iremos unidos en la sangre, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. Amén. Amén.
Yeah. Truly rousing song.
Truly rousing. But it's very interesting because I'd forgotten it says things like, you know, the barrel cleansing like flame, the barrel of my gun, bring us your strength to fight against injustice. you know, liberate us from all that. And so it's really liberation theology stuff. It really
Yeah.
is that you're talking about. And then, of course, the now and in the hour of our death, Amen, Amen. I think that comes from the Hail Mary, doesn't it? Yeah, Our Lady. And
I'm the wrong person to
you
ask.
are, yeah. Well, I can tell that, mate. Yeah, quite big, bloody big jag. Although he, I think, came from a Catholic context.
That wouldn't surprise
And
me.
we all do, you know. It's really funny. We all react against it. But well, anyway, whatever. But that comes, I think, from now and in the hour of our death. I mean, anyway, whatever. That's how it ends up. Very good. In that sense, religious. But Joan Jara, his wife, is very clear that he rejected all organized religion from his time in the seminary. He just said, well, it's a lot of rubbish. As he did really the army. He was also in the army. He was.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Wow.
he was a, you know, what you call it, national service, we called it in
Yeah.
Britain. He did 2 years.
Conscript.
Conscript, yeah. And he did that, then he went into the church, and then he went in to found his real self as a theatre guy and then music. There's a wonderful book she wrote that people may be interested in trying to get a hold of. It's called Victor, an Unfinished Song.
Yeah.
Victor Canto Incluso, yeah. I'm sure it's out there still, you know.
Yeah,
Certainly
yeah, there's an English edition of
yeah, there is, Victor, an Unfinished Song, yeah. And that's by Joan, and she sort of tells a lot of this sort of stuff. It's really interesting, fascinating book. And of course she talks about the coup from first-hand experience.
Yeah,
and so.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about that and about Joan and Joan's experience.
Well, I think Joan is one of the great unsung heroines, or heroes as we call them nowadays, of the international revolutionary movement. She was English. I don't know if she certainly got Chilean nationality now, but she was English at the time of the coup, and she had a British passport. And so she was not rounded up, but she was exiled and was not tortured and disappeared and so on. And the children, the 2 girls, Amanda and Manuela, went with her, were able to come with her. So she came to London. But instead of bringing, you know, clothes and stuff, her suitcases were full of Victor's discs.
Wow.
And I suppose they wouldn't have absolutely disappeared, but one of the things the military guys did was to get hold of them, proscribe them, and break and destroy whatever they could get hold of, just as they wrecked, you know, Pablo Neruda's library and so on, you know, the usual fascist crap. And so Joan then dedicated her life, essentially, even till today, 41 years later, to promoting not just Victor's music, but what it stood for, through the music. And she went on tour all over the place talking about what had happened. Obviously then the music became better and better known through that process. And you know, it always, some people, like Mick for example, can get to iconic status without getting bumped off, but it does help, and if you see what I mean, you don't mind me being completely cynical. You know, Victor became a martyr, and that is it's a very moving and very real human response to that, is to say, well, you know, he was just such a peace-loving guy. Listen to Te Recuerdo Amanda. Why would they kill him so brutally? So it pointed out the whole dreadful reality of the coup in a way that, you know, it was hard to see in other ways, you know what I'm saying? Because of course the media in general played it down and so on, you know, the usual stuff, because we were backing it essentially. So anyway, Joan then dedicated her life really, and she's still running